Hi, my name is Cami. Welcome back to Classics and Cats. I'm so excited because I'm going to share with you one of my favorite classic movie actresses of all time. And what I mean by classic movie actress is someone who was active during what's considered the golden age of Hollywood, which is like 16 to I think like 1968 or something like that. So I want to share my favorite classic movie actresses from the golden age of Hollywood with you, and the movies that I think you should watch with them, where I think you should start if you're interested in developing your repertoire of black and white and color, just old movies, or for those of you that already love classic movies, if you're just wanting to expand your database and learn more movies that maybe you aren't familiar with or actresses you aren't familiar with. So I'm going to do a series, and it's going to be classic movie actresses I think you need to know. So the first one is one of my all-time favorites, and her name is Deanna Durbin. So Deanna Durbin was born Edna Mae Durbin, and she was born in Winnipeg, Canada. And when she was 14 years old, she auditioned for MGM Studios. And what they did was they had her and Judy Garland film a little movie short where they were singing kind of in the park. And they wanted to see the two girls side by side because they only wanted one female teenage singing star. So it was kind of a screen test for both of them. So you can look it up on YouTube. It's called Every Sunday. Look it up. It's just a short little clip of them singing together, which is just amazing. And they're both super talented, so it's worth a watch. So this was their screen test. So MGM ultimately went with Judy Garland, and Universal Studios snatched up Deanna Durbin. So she ended up going with Universal Studios. At age 14, Deanna Durbin was reported to have single-handedly saved Universal Studios from bankruptcy. She filmed her first movie called Three Smart Girls. It's adorable. You should see it. It's going to be in my list of recommendations. So very successful. She was a huge hit at the box office and went on to make several other movies. Well, while she was 14, at that same time, when she was making that film, she also auditioned for the voice of Snow White in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And Walt Disney at the time thought that Deanna Durbin's voice was too mature for that role, so she didn't get it. Wish she would have. I would have loved to have heard her voice in that. The girl that did it was amazing though as well, but I'm a Deanna fan, so obviously I'm going to vote for her. And then she also, it's rumored, I don't know if I can prove it, but it's rumored that she also was offered or considered for the part of Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. And she refused because her good friend Judy Garland, that she had screen tested with recently, wanted that part. So she didn't get it. Either didn't get it, they didn't choose her, or she turned it down. I don't know. That's the rumor mill in Golden Age of Hollywood. So take that as you will. But can you imagine how cinema history would be totally different if we didn't have Judy Garland in The Wizard of Oz? So who knows? I'm sure everything happens the way it's supposed to. Okay, I wouldn't call this a fun fact, but I would call it, a sweet historical fact. So it's said that Anne Frank had a picture of Deanna Durbin on her wall at the annex where her and her family hid when the Nazi invasion happened. She must have been a huge Deanna Durbin fan, and I just find that really fascinating and interesting, and I just love that kind of connection between how I feel about Deanna Durbin, and apparently Anne Frank also felt that way. And it's just kind of like a reach through time where you feel like connected to someone else, and we probably felt the same way watching her movies and seeing her. So I just think that's a really beautiful little nugget of information that I have come across over the years. So Deanna Durbin was active in Hollywood from 1936 to 1948. And at that time, in 1948, she was the highest paid actress of the time. She was only 26 years old. And the previous year, 1947, she was the second highest paid actress, second only to Bette Davis. So when she left Hollywood in 1948, she was the highest paid actress in Hollywood, which is just amazing. So what happened was, the reason why she turned her back on Hollywood and never looked back was because most of her movies are very light, very happy-go-lucky. She was a beautiful opera soprano. She had an amazing singing voice. So all of her movies are musicals. And so she bursts into song. They're very lighthearted and happy and, comical. And she wanted grittier, meatier roles for an adult woman. She was given a couple film noir roles, but they just did not perform well at the box office. Her fan base really wanted to see her in those sweet little burst into song at any moment movies. And she just was fed up with that. She said that she was the highest paid actress given the worst quality of work to work with. Which is sad that she thought that, because I absolutely adore her films. So, but I get what she's saying. She probably wanted to push herself as an actress. She kind of got typecast for a while. And so she turned her back on Hollywood and she never looked back. She moved to France and never considered going back. She had multiple offers to return. She was supposedly offered a role of Eliza Doolittle on Broadway, and she turned it down. She just was not interested, and she didn't interact with the media anymore. She didn't grant interviews, except in 1983, she did one interview, and that was the only one she did from the time she left Hollywood in 1948 until she passed away in 2013. So she really wanted to live a normal life and just had no interest in the Hollywood life anymore, which is kind of amazing. And it's sad that, I feel like her career was cut short and there could have been so many more amazing things that she could have left us with. But I'm glad with what she did leave us with. And I hope that you're going to enjoy it, and so we can just continue to pass this down and just let her legacy live on forever. All right, now you get to hear the story of how I came to fall in love with the woman that is Deanna Durbin. So when I was probably 8 or 9 years old, I was sick, and I was laying on the couch in the living room, and my parents and my brother came in to watch a movie with me. And, I'm sick, so, I'm being pouty and whiny, and my mom comes in and says she has a movie picked out, and I'm pretty sure I said, "Is it in black and white?" And she said, "Yeah, it is." And so I whined. I was like, "I don't want to watch a black and white movie. I'm sick. Let me choose." And she said, "You'll be fine." So they turned on this movie, and I don't remember which Deanna Durbin it was. Oh my gosh, I think I do. I think it was called 100 Men and a Girl. And that was the first one I ever saw. So they turn it on. I'm laying there. I don't say another word until the credits roll. I was completely captivated. I loved her. I'm pretty sure as soon as it was over, I either said, "Can we watch it again?" or "Can we watch another one?" So I just loved her from the start. I love her. My mom loves her. My dad loves her. My brother loves her. We're all obsessed with her movies. So I just think they still hold a place in my heart, but I feel like people can still relate to them. You can still enjoy them. She sings, she dances, she acts. She has amazing comedic timing. And I just love her. I just love watching her movies, and I hope you'll give them a chance and that you will love them as well. So I'm going to recommend my top movies that I think you'll like. Okay, the movies I recommend you try. 3 Smart Girls. 3 Smart Girls Grow Up, which is a sequel if you didn't guess. Mad About Music. It Started with Eve. First Love. His Butler Sister. It's a Date. And Something in the Wind. I realize I just said a lot of movies. Those are my favorite ones. There's some different collections that you can buy. You'll have to look and see where you can get these. I got these on Amazon several years ago, so I don't know if they're still available. If they are, I'll link them down below. But they've got a great collection of movies on these. And then some of them you have to buy separately because they're not included in the collection. So It's a Date is one of them. One of the ones that I just mentioned, His Butler Sister, I do not have a copy of, and I desperately want one. So I'm going to have to find that. So I know I gave you a lot of movies. I'm going to tell you my top 3, though. My top 3 that I think you should start with, and I'll give you a brief synopsis of each one. So you can kind of listen to the storyline and decide which one you think you would enjoy the most. Okay, so my top 3 movies. So number 1 would be It Started with Eve. This one is really cute and really funny and has some great songs in it, of course. And so the storyline is that this girl's working at a hotel as a hat check girl, Deanna Durbin. And while she's working there, a young man comes in looking for his fiancée and her mother that he's left at this hotel while he goes to visit his dying father, who he hasn't seen in a while because he's been off the continent. And he goes in the hotel and cannot find his fiancée anywhere or her mother. They have left the building. So in a panic, his dying father, his wish is that he gets to meet his son's fiancée before he dies. And so after he can't find his fiancée, in a moment of panic, he asks the hat check girl to come with him, pretend to be his fiancée, and hilarity ensues. So she goes and meets the dying father. They have this beautiful moment together, this wonderful connection, and the father is so happy to meet her, and it's just beautiful. So then she goes back home. He gives her some money for her time and trouble, and she's going to use it to travel back home. She's going back home, I think, to Indiana. So the next morning, while they're all sitting around the deathbed, waiting for his moment to pass, he wakes up and he is excited to see his future daughter-in-law. And guess what? The son realizes that he just asked a total stranger to pretend to be his fiancée. So now he has to go and track down this girl and ask her to continue to pretend to be his fiancée because he's afraid he's going to give his dad, a stroke or a heart attack if he finds out. He thinks he can't handle the stress of finding out that this is not the right woman. So obviously it's funny, it's cute. He's got to pretend that he's got to hide this new girl from his actual fiance. He's got to convince his father that they're actually engaged to be married. And it's just the interactions between all of them are just hysterical. The man that plays the dying father is hilarious. I think his name's Charles Lofton, one of those. And Robert Cummings plays the son and the male lead. And Deanna Durbin, of course, plays the wonderful female lead, and it's just it's a gem. You should see it. Give it a shot. My second pick that I think you should give a chance to is First Love. So this is loosely based on the Cinderella story. It's really cute, of course. It's got Deanna singing wonderful songs. So what happens is she is at a boarding school or a finishing school. Her parents are both dead. And so she's been sent there by her rich uncle and who's paying for her education. Well, once she's graduated, she goes back to live with him and his family. So she's going to live with her aunt and uncle and her two cousins. So instead of wicked stepsisters, we have two spoiled, selfish cousins. So while she's there, she delights the staff and befriends them because she doesn't really connect with anyone else in the family. And, in an accidental way, she kind of gets pushed into the arms of the young man that her cousin is trying to hook. So obviously there's going to be some issues there, and it's just adorable. It's a sweet little story. Again, it's a take on a Cinderella story. So give that one a shot too. It's good. My number 3 is Something in the Wind. This is an adorable little story. And it's all, all the stories seem to be based on some kind of miscommunication, misunderstanding, or it's just, early rom-com at its finest. So in this one, she is, again, I think she's lost both her parents, so she lives with an aunt. One day while she's at work, this young man comes up to her, asks her, are you Mary Collins? And she says yes. And he's like, I need to talk to you. And she's just offended by the way he comes off, and he accuses her of some things. So she goes home angry. Well, what happened was this man's grandfather died, and when they were going through his papers and his belongings, they found a lot of checks over the years that had been written out to this girl. And so in their minds, they're thinking, why is he been paying off this girl for the last few years? So comes down to it, they end up kidnapping her gently, and bringing her back to their house because they want to get the information from her. They're a rich, well-to-do family. They don't want this getting out, so they're going to keep her there until they make an agreement that she's not going to tell anyone what the connection was that she's getting paid for by this old man. And she's totally offended, so she wants to make these people pay. And it's adorable, it's cute, and Donald O'Connell is in this movie. So if you're familiar with Singing in the Rain, Donald O'Connell is the one that sings and dances and has all kinds of antics. And he does the same thing in this, not the exact same routine or choreography, but he definitely shows that side of himself. He does, this crazy dance, crazy song, and it seems like he does it all in one breath. I don't know how he had the energy, but it's absolutely amazing. So that is my third top choice I think you should give a chance to for Deanna Durbin films. It's so hard for me to choose because I really do love them all. Honorable mention, if you watch those three and you love them, watch Three Smart Girls and Three Smart Girls Grow Up. Okay, a top five. I can't. I love her. I really love her. So, yes. So I hope you'll come back for more on this series so you can see other actresses that I think you need to know and other movies that I think you need to watch. If you do give these a shot, please comment down below so we can gush together. If they're movies you've already seen or you're already a huge fan of Deanna Durbin, please comment down below, again, so we can gush about her together. And also join me on Instagram. That's all I have for my Deanna Durbin wrap up. I hope I see you again soon. Bye.